the 2013 Section 1 Class AA Championship.
The Pleasantville Panthers are celebrating their first Section 1 Class B title since 1991.
The champions of Section 1 and Section 9 football have been declared, and now this weekend we're going to find out who the best teams truly are in each class in the Hudson Valley. Welcome everyone to a very special edition of On the Beat. We're on the road with KDJ. I am your host, Kevin Devaney Jr., and we're going to take you through. We get ready for the state quarterfinals, as we know it in this region, Section 1 versus Section 9, for the 5 matchups, pinning the best teams from Section 1 against the champions of Section 9. We're going to go through, we're going to make a couple stops. We're here now at Rhinebeck High School, the only undefeated team in Section 1 left. And they're the Class C champions out of Section 1, and they're getting ready for their Class C matchup against Burke Catholic. We're going to talk more about Rhinebeck later in the show. We're going to make another stop at Pleasantville High School, another team making their first ever entry into the state tournament out of Class B. They're taking on Class B champions from Section 9, Marlboro High School. And we're going to take a look back now at championship weekend in Section 1 football and in Section 9. The best moments, what are we taking away from the weekend?
First, the play of White Plains quarterback Cameron Crabb cannot be understated. Not only did he display elusiveness against North Rockland's vaunted pass rush, what stood out most was his poise. When things got tense in the fourth quarter, Crabb was as calm and confident as ever. He delivered a game-clinching touchdown pass to Eddie Rios on 4th down to bring White Plains its first championship in the state tournament era. Number 2 has to be Monroe Woodbury's comeback win over Newburgh Free Academy. In the regular season, the Crusaders disposed of Newburgh by 3 touchdowns, but Saturday was much different, as they needed a 9-point fourth-quarter comeback to win their first title in 3 seasons. For Monroe, the 31-30 victory might have been the best thing that could have happened. After not playing a close game all season, they needed this test as they gear up for a state title run. Finally, Tuckahoe winning the Section 1 Class D title won't get a lot of attention, but this Tigers team showed Saturday how much they've improved against the grueling schedule. They knocked off Haldane 42-8, and we witnessed the emergence of running back Enoch Penny-Larea and the maturation of quarterback Mike Castrocuco. Tuckahoe might be a major factor in the state tournament.
Another one of the biggest stories out of Section 1 this past weekend was Somers going back-to-back as Section 1 Class A champions. And you never want to say a team winning back-to-back titles is a surprise, but with the Tuskers, it really is. They only returned 3 starters from last year's team that won its first Class A championship since 2000, and now here they are back into the state tournament taking on Cornwall. We look at what Somers did this past weekend. They won a Section 1 title because of defense, and they did it by shutting down the most prolific passing offense in Section 1 in Rye and quarterback Andrew Livingston. And when you look back at Class A in Section 1 this season, you have to think that Rye really was the best team for most of the season. They just weren't the best team when it mattered most, and that team was Somers. They were the healthiest, they were the deepest, and they were the best defensive team, and they were the very deserving repeat champions in Section 1. And we're seeing a star emerge at Somers High School, and that is their quarterback, Tim Cousin. And I caught up with him afterwards to talk about going back-to-back.
Yeah, so last year was a great season, but to do it again, especially after, no one gave us a chance, we were only supposed to go 500, so, to do it again against undefeated Rye team, it means a lot to us, and we're really excited about it.
A lot of people prove pundits wrong all the time in sports. Did you guys prove yourselves wrong a little bit? Did you really believe before the season started you could win a Section 1 title?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal every year. You go in, you don't know what's going to happen, but, we work hard, and we're behind Coach D and Coach Matt and all of his assistants, Coach Pack, Narcisco, Coach Ann DiMatteo, all those guys, Coach Mike, and we know that they're going to put together a great game plan. We just got to execute it.
Cornwall earned their 3rd straight trip to the state tournament with Saturday's 48-21 victory over Wallkill in the Section 9 final at Middletown High School. White was at it again, but this time doing it with his legs, rushing for 5 touchdowns to earn MVP honors yet again. And we caught up with White afterwards.
I'm here with Mike White, MVP for Cornwall in the championship game tonight, Section 9 Class A champions, 3rd year in a row. 5 rushing touchdowns. I don't think I've ever seen you run for a touchdown, 5 of them tonight. What was the difference?
Just found the openings. Coach Hughes told me during film all week that there's going to be openings, and if I saw it, just run. And I just did that. So we had a good game plan, and we executed.
Over 2,000 yards passing all 3 seasons on varsity, now 3 Section 9 championships. I know you don't want to think too much about your legacy now, what you've done in your career, but has it hit you yet that this Section 9 part of the season's over?
Yeah, it's definitely hit me. It's a great feeling to go out like this, but we're not done yet, and looking back at it, it's pretty cool.
I know it's been a big week for you with choosing Marist and things being finalized now. You're going there. How difficult the process was it, and how happy that you found a home now?
It wasn't difficult. The coaches there made it easy for me. Coach Hughes backed me up the whole way. My parents backed me up the whole way. My friends and family, they were there, and it's a lot of stress off the shoulders, and I'm looking forward to it.
I know it's been on Marist has been a school that's been on your radar for a long time. To have it finally done, how long was the process for you in terms of finally choosing Marist?
I kind of had it set in my mind for a while, but About half a year. I mean, it was a long time, and I was just waiting. And my parents gave me the go, and I was like, thank you. I was like, it's about time, yeah. So it feels good.
So that's next season's football. You still have a lot of time to play.
Oh, yeah.
You had to think all year that you were going to get to this point and win a Section 9 championship. Now go back to states. Now how does the mindset change? And I'm sure you don't celebrate this very much. You're thinking about states.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole different level of play, and it's gonna be a lot harder, and we're just gonna have to work, and that's what we do. We work every day in practice, so I'm looking forward to it.
You got into the state semifinals the last 2 years. What do you guys have to do differently now? And what did you learn the last 2 seasons?
I mean, just learn from your mistakes. I mean, we made mistakes in the past, and that's what killed us. Interceptions, fumbles, all that kind of stuff, and just learn from mistakes and move on.
Cornwall had no trouble against Somers in last year's state tournament. Mike White passed for 433 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 34-13 rout at Mahopac High School, handing the Tuskers their only defeat of the season. We take a look now at our MSG Varsity expert picks, and 3 guys like Cornwall, only Chris Caron has faith in the Section 1 champion Somers, as the Tuskers look to win their first ever state tournament game and bring Section 1 its first Class A victory in 3 seasons.
So those are the expert picks for the Class A state quarterfinal game at D Stadium in Kingston on Friday night. And my pick, I'm going with Cornwall again, a rematch of last year's state quarterfinal games. When you look back, everything was working against Somers last year because of Superstorm Sandy and the delay and having such a short time to prepare for Cornwall last year. And I don't think it mattered last year. I think Cornwall was really just a bad matchup for Somers. They never saw a team that threw the ball as much as they did. And now they're facing a very different Cornwall squad, but one that's just as good. And they may not have the bodies up front, the big size up front to match up with Somers, but either does Somers. They still have quarterback Mike White. He, to me, is the best pound-for-pound quarterback in the Hudson Valley, and he's going to lead them to another win over Somers and back to the state semifinals. So that's a look at our Class A matchup of Somers against Cornwall. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Rhinebeck making their first ever trip to the state tournament. They're taking on Burke Catholic on Saturday.